Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this interview, Deonna.
Yeah, no worries. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you? How are things going?
Very good. I cannot complain.
So you recently returned to Impact Wrestling and you was quickly thrown into the main event scene. Slammiversary, it had such an incredible buzz around it, with one of the highlights being your match with Jordan Grace, on which you won the Impact Knockout Championship. And I say one of the highlights of the show because it was an outstanding match. That's got to be one of your career highlights, right?
Yeah, thank you so much. For sure. I think that, coming into a company and right away then giving you the nod to go right for the champion and to have a semi-main event match on a pay as one of my first matches with the company. Like I said, I have no complaints whatsoever, and all the positive feedback that we've seen after Slammiversary around mine and Jordan's match, this means so much to me because I feel like there was a target coming. There was a target on my back coming into the company in the position that I was in, and some of the things that I said about coming into the company and what my plans were and what I wanted to do. So it was kind of like a showing out party, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I'm really thrilled that everyone was so happy about it.
Well, it was great, but with no audience there, it must be really difficult for a wrestler to determine the success of the match. At what point did you realise that the match was a success? Was it during the match? Was it sort of afterwards, with the social media surrounding it?
Yeah, I think it was more afterwards, and just kind of, once you get back and you kind of have a moment to like collect yourself and relax a little bit. Everyone from the minute, I stepped through the curtain was just like, that was great, congratulations, hugs. And like, it was very, such a positive vibe. As soon as I came through the curtains, all the girls were there ready to congratulate us and telling us how great it was. So I don't think you think about the response you're going to get while you're wrestling, but to come back through the curtain the way I did and to have all the girls there hugging us and clapping for us really made that moment much more special.
Well, congratulations, because it was awesome, and it's a shame that you couldn't have the audience response. But I'm glad that the social media response has been so positive afterwards.
Yeah, thank you.
So you wrestled with Impact before, when it was TNA, and here you are at the top of the brand. I mean, you've just been brought into the company, and you're right at the top of the mountain straight away. What personal changes have you made over the past few years? Do you feel that you've developed allowed you to be able to be in this position?
Yeah, I think that, my biggest fault prior coming back to Impact and some of the knockdown reviews I did was I didn't really have a character. I just, the first time was 2014, and that was my eighth match. Against Brooke Tessmacher on a TNA pay-per-view.
That's
So it was
crazy.
kind of like, I just, right. And I was so in over my head, I literally just had the basics training down. And then to come back in 2016 and do, knockdown again versus Madison Rain and some, explosion stuff and whatever. Then I was still kind of very much in the same boat, but I was confident in my wrestling. And I was like, okay, well, I can have a good match, but I don't have a character to give you. So I
Yeah.
think, over the past 6 years, it's been a journey of how to develop a character around who wrestler that I am. And that is very much where Virtuosa comes from. A Virtuosa is an individual with outstanding technical ability. And that very much reflects in, my simplistic style of wrestling. So I think I just had more to offer in terms of character development this time around than I did in the past.
Great. So virtuosa, let's go a little bit more into that. So obviously it's an Italian word, I believe. Where did that come from, and how did you develop that virtuosa idea, and who helps you with that, and the process of that?
Yeah. So back when I was doing more stuff with Ring of Honor, it was very much like, okay, you're a great wrestler, but we need to add layers to it again, right?
Yeah.
And they wanted me to come up with a nickname or a moniker. And I found Virtuosa. And I kind of thought, like, oh, it's hard to say. If you don't know what it means, you might not understand. But we just took a chance on it. And I think, originally when we were first using it at Ring of Honor, it was just a moniker, and there was no character behind it. It was like, she's a good wrestler, and that is a pretty word and it's sophisticated. And the crowd just kind of got it, and it was like synonymous. And then in the last 2 or 3 years, it's been really forced upon me to explore it as a character, and that's why my music is in orchestra, and my ring jackets are elaborate, and been able to tie in some more of those artistic elements to what makes a virtuosa. So in Italian, a lot of virtuosa is used for a piano player or a violin player or someone that is artistic and excellent in music or dance or art. So we've been able to bring in those elements in my gear and my music, and use some really big words and expand my vocabulary to kind of bring it to circle now and impact.
Great. And someone that's not just good, but someone that's at the top of the game, which obviously you are right now. I mean, you're in a great position right now.
Yeah, and now too, like, a virtuosa can proclaim she's the best, but if she can't prove it, then what does that really mean? And I've been given the opportunity, to be in the ring and kind of display who I think the best technical women's wrestler in the world is. And for me, that's me, the virtuosa.
That's great. So going even deeper into that. So what? Obviously, we've not seen a lot of you on Impact at the minute. Obviously, you've been there not a long period of time. That's all. What more are we going to see from the virtuosa, and how are we going to see that defined as the character that you are?
Yeah. So Impact has a 2-week, not paper, but kind of a 2-week special happening. So it's the 18th of August, 25th of August. And I think, Gordon and I have a rematch, more to be revealed about that in weeks coming. But I think that, how we build up to this rematch and the match itself really speaks to who the virtuosa is. And, I plan to break her arm again and make her verbally quit.
Well, we can't wait to see that. Obviously, you are at the top of the mountain. What is your definition of success, and how do you intend to? Because being at the sort of top of the mountain, like a lot of people would say, you'd reach that. How do you intend to sort of hold on to that as well as your sort of definition of success?
I think for me, I've always wanted to be a professional wrestler. Right? That was the only thing I've ever wanted to do with my life. I was, a 9-year-old girl. So for me, success has always been the fact that I was able to train to be a wrestler, because so many people, have these crazy dreams and they never get to fulfill them. So from, the first match I had, in December of 2013 was like, well, I succeeded. I had one wrestling match. And for me, everything else has just, been icing on the cake. But the one thing I never got to do up until now was to be a champion. So the fact that Impact has kind of given me the ball to run with it, has put a division on my back and sees me as the person who's going to carry this division for the next little while, means everything to me. And I think as wrestlers, that is pinnacle. Once you're the champion, you've done it. So now it's just keeping that championship and breaking Jordan's arm again at Emergence in a few weeks, and then Kylie Rae's my next opponent. So it's planning ahead. That's how I'm going to stay on top.
That's great. So what advice would you give to people that obviously you've achieved your dreams or some of your dreams, and that's incredible. What advice would you give to people that are trying to do that, but maybe have stumbling blocks that hold them back, where they're unable to sort of achieve that immediately?
Yeah, I think the best thing to remember for anyone is that no one has a path, and everyone's journey is going to be different. And especially in wrestling, there's no right way or wrong way. So it's just about having self-confidence and believing in yourself and knowing your worth and what you bring to the table. And if you can be confident in that and bet on yourself, you can really achieve anything. It's just having that self-confidence, finding it within yourself. And, I haven't been shy on social media about the struggles that I had and getting to the place I'm at now and having to find that self-confidence in myself again. And you're always going to go through those ups and downs, the highs and lows of life, let alone in a career that isn't determined by how hard you work. There's so many outside influences in wrestling. So really it's just finding that self-confidence and building that up for yourself when you lose it and then getting it again and, going with those ebbs and flows.
But you've managed to do that, and and that's great. And how did you go about finding that self confidence? Because there's a lot of people out there who have a dream but don't have the confidence to do it. How did you get the self confidence, and what motivates you? Maybe it's outside of wrestling.
Yeah, I outside of wrestling, I have such an amazing support system. Some of my best friends are wrestlers and are in other companies, but we are in constant contact. We are bouncing ideas off of each other. We are, lifting each other up. And I think the way that I've found self confidence is by having people believe in me that aren't necessarily affiliated directly with what I'm doing. So my best friends are Chelsea Green and Britt Baker, and they're at the top in other companies, right? But
Yeah.
knowing that they have my back and knowing that I can, hey, I'm thinking about this, and I maybe you're like this. What do you think? And being able to have people to give me honest opinions and people I trust to believe in me and give me honest feedback has always been my greatest asset. Just having such a support system and women empowering women has been a game changer, I think.
And it's a great time for that as well. Obviously, we've talked about your own style as the Virtuosa. You're now in Impact. You've got all these women to wrestle who's going to be coming for you. Who are you looking forward to wrestling, and how do you think their your style, would work with them and sort of enhance the match? As well as, is there anything else you want to sort of promote going forward? It'd be great to hear about your future.
Yeah, so there's tons of women at Impact, and I can't stress enough how much I believe in this vision, and I think we're one of the best in the world. So I think anyone I could get in the ring with is going to be a great match and a great pairing. But I've never been in the ring with Ty Valkyrie. I've never been in the ring with Rosemary or Jessica Havoc. All of these knockouts are former champions, and to see how I would compete against them would really raise my bar. But then also, like I said, at Emergence in 2 weeks, I'm wrestling Jordan Grace. So that is my number one goal. That's what I'm hyper focused on. And then after Jordan, once I get through that, we have Kylie Ray, who's the number one contender. So whenever that match happens, I'm excited to see, the different ways I can break Kylie's arm too.
Going around breaking arms and taking names. Thank you very much, Deonna. We really appreciate your time. Is there anything you wanted to promote, social media or anything like that?
Yeah, everyone can follow me at Deonna Purrazzo on Twitter and Instagram.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.